One of the most interesting architectural features of the Edmonton area is the cluster of pyramids that form the Muttart Conservatory in the Saskatchewan River Valley. Today I'm with Gordon Heaps, Supervisor of Operations. Gordon, what area of the conservatory are we in?
You're in the show pavilion right now, at the pavilion that gets changed about 10 times a year.
Oh wow, it's beautiful. And right now you're featuring summer flowering plants?
Yeah, this is our summer show, and New Guinea impatiens are the feature plants in here.
Now the conservatory consists of several different areas, and tell us a little bit, for example, about the tropical area.
Okay. Well, we actually have 3 other biomes, but the tropical area is one of our favorites, especially when it's 40 below outside. We have a pavilion with huge palm trees and tropical climate, 24, 25 degrees, high humidity, just like a jungle.
And then you have another one that is a temperate.
Yeah, we also, very unique for conservatories, is a temperate pavilion where our temperatures drop down to about 4 degrees during the winter months, and the plants actually lose their leaves just like they would outside.
Oh wow. And then you have another conservatory that's arid.
And the third one is our arid pavilion, where we actually feature mainly succulent plants, but a few cacti as well.
Oh wow. And in these various conservatories, what is the best time of the year to visit them?
Well, there's really no best time because there's always a feature going on. The show pavilion, as I said, is changing 10 times a year. If it's really cold outside, people love sitting in the tropical pavilion. During a hot day in the summer here, we can feature a very cool temperature in the temperate, or you can just see the uniqueness of the arid pavilion.
Now, outside you also have another display.
Yeah, our grounds also have a trial garden for bedding plants, where we feature all the new bedding plants that are offered throughout the Americans, and all American selections, and we trial them here so that we can tell whether they're going to perform like they would in the United States.
I see. Now, do you have clinics here too, or educational programs?
Yeah, there are. For the school kids, of course, we have school programs going on all year long. We bring through a tremendous number of kids learning how to plant plants and how to grow things. We also have some coursework, art coursework, some landscaping coursework, etc.
Do you do tours through the conservatories too?
All the time. Tours are a major portion. A lot of tours with people on holidays and so on coming into Edmonton. They get a tour of the facilities, or they can simply be our local residents who form a group and want to come through to see a show or something like that.
Now, I know there is a minimal fee to enter the conservatory, but what are the hours of the conservatory?
The conservatory is open now 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 p.m. at night.
Thanks, Gordon. The beautiful Muttart Conservatory in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Today I'm going to show you how to make an easy and inexpensive window box for herbs. I'm just starting with a couple of cedar boards left over from another project. And you'll only need basic tools and galvanized nails. You'll need a hammer, you'll need a handsaw, you'll need a square, and that's about all. And of course, in the bottom you want to be sure to put in the drainage holes. So, let's start. As you can see, I've mounted my herb window box just outside the kitchen, and this is a great location for a couple of different reasons. First, it's convenient for cooking. Second, it's a good location because of the sun and a great place to grow herbs, in fact. And third, it offers a great opportunity to teach the kids about herbs, how to grow them, and how they're used in cooking. So let's plant this up. Let's use just a few, and you should use whatever herbs you like the best. But let's use a few that I kind of like. First of all, let's use the winter savory. And of course, we've got to loosen that root system. You can see it's very, very matted. Winter savory has a peppery flavor, and it's ideal for meats and for sauces and for soups too. And look at the beautiful foliage of it. And then second here, let's use Greek oregano. And everybody knows what oregano is good to use for, but this one has a stronger flavor than the common oregano. And we'll just put it in next, and look at a great texture combination here between the two. And then third, we use the golden sage, which is ideal for pork, poultry, and cheese. And look at that great foliage color as well. Really a nice herb. And then fourth here, we'll use garlic chives. And garlic chives are ideal for garnishing soups, poultries, and of course vegetables as well. And it gives it yet another foliage texture. And then last here, we'll use the rosemary. And rosemary, of course, has a great aroma, has a nice growth habit too, but it's used mainly in fish, any meats, and of course soups as well. And we'll just put it in here as the very last one. So you can see here, outside this very sunny window, kitchen window, we have all these herbs ready to use. All you have to do is come and pick them. They don't take a lot of care in such a location. All you have to do is really watch the watering, because herbs thrive a lot on neglect. What a great idea.
Remember this wonderful garden from about a year ago when you watched me lay the flat stones in what used to be a weed-infested, hard-to-water area? Well, what you saw a year ago were me planting the little baby thymes and all these various succulents. And now they've filled in the cracks, and it's become a very low-maintenance area in the full sun that I don't even have to water. Just a great example of how you can use rocks in the garden. So here we are in a new part of the garden that I've just finished, and this is called my angel garden, and it's also an adventure in stonescaping. But what I'm going to tell you today is a couple of ideas on how to add a theme garden or a little pocket garden like this and not spend a lot of money. Now, one great frugal gardening tip is to recycle and reuse. Now, this angel is actually sitting on not an expensive pedestal, but a broken down bird bath. Yes, this used to be a bird bath. The top broke off, and we turned the bird bath upside down. So what you're seeing that this angel is sitting on is simply the base of an old bird bath. Now, other ideas for recycling is these used bricks down here. Now, often when you get used bricks for free, you don't have enough of them to actually pave a whole courtyard. But what I've done here is made just a small framing around the angel centerpiece, and that kind of sets it off and draws your eye to the main focal point. I also found a couple of flagstones at a garage sale, but not enough to do the entire courtyard area. So what I've done is just put them around the perimeter of the brick. Probably the biggest money saver of all is the crushed gravel or crushed rock used as a base, because the most expensive part about doing a courtyard garden like this is installing the courtyard surface. Crushed rock is very inexpensive. I laid it on top of some old cardboard to keep the weeds from coming through. And what's wonderful is if later on, maybe a couple years from now, I got very ambitious and I decided to invest the time and money in putting down a cobblestone or flagstone surface, I already have the crushed rock base there. And a couple of other things to remember is that when you're doing props for plants that tilt over, instead of spending money on plant stakes, when I'm doing garden cleanup in the fall, I look for fork sticks like this. Then they're a great way when a plant is starting to tip over, I simply use a fork stick to make it stand up. Now, these money-saving options will help you so that you can spend your money on the garden accents that really give a garden charm. For instance, this piece of artwork, my gardening angel here. Now, she's watering plants for me right now, but I always have visions of one morning coming out here and finding out the angel has also done the weeding. Hey, a garden's a magical place. It could happen.
Today we're in St. Albert, Alberta, Canada, and I'm with author Lois Hull, also the owner of Hull's Greenhouses in St. Albert. Say, you've written a book on your favorite bedding plants, and I see we're surrounded by beautiful bedding plants. Lois, what are some of your favorites?
Well, of course, I have several. I have so many favorites, but the designer geraniums is one that, because people love geraniums, and of course they can go in so many different places. Fiesta Impatiens, the brand new one, and I've always liked Impatiens, but this one just performs so beautifully. The new wave petunias. I mean, can you imagine anything so wonderful that actually trails and looks so beautiful and has so many blooms and just keeps blooming and blooming, and you don't have to deadhead?
Yeah. I notice here in the garden, too, you've got some gorgeous New Guinea impatiens.
Yes, and some of those varieties are performing extremely well. You know, for a long time, we always thought that New Guinea impatiens should go in shade.
Sure.
Well, I shouldn't say we thought, everybody else thought, because
That's right.
impatiens are shade plants. Well, of course, they should be in full sun. So it's a wonderful addition to baskets, containers that need to be in full sun.
Now, here in St. Albert, during the summer it gets pretty hot, and during the winter it gets pretty cold. You have a fairly short season. So are these the annuals that are going to do best in those kind of conditions?
I would say that 99% of the annuals that are grown anywhere in the world will grow here.
Yeah.
We happen to have a wonderful climate with very high light.
Yeah.
And so things grow fast, our season doesn't have to be long, and we still have a marvelous show. However, we can plant in the latter part of April, and last year we didn't even get any frost until mid-October.
Oh, my
So
God.
our season isn't as short as
Sure.
people think. And then, of course, many of the flowers will take some frost.
Yeah.
Little frost won't hurt.
Now, give our viewers a few hints very quickly on fertilizing, watering, any special care in this kind of
Yes,
climate?
one of the most interesting things is that if you grow in containers, you should water. Once they start to get established and are growing very vigorously, you now start to water every day. But every time you water, you put a good pinch of fertilizer in that
Oh, right.
water. Very, very important, because I always liken it to having a 12-year-old son in your house. They're hungry all the time. Well, I think our potted plants, because of the high light, are growing so fast that they need to be fed, watered, looked after daily.
We want our viewers to know that Lois Hall has a great book on bedding plant favorites and lots of information on plants that are fragrant and the different colors as well. You'll find lots of information in the book. Thanks, Lois.
Thanks very much, Ed. Wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. Fall is a beautiful time in the garden, and we've got some great plants of the week this week. For example, these are the gorgeous fall asters, sometimes called Michaelmas daisies. And you can see they come in different sized flowers. And these are perennials, so they'll come back year after year. They do best in full sun or part sun and shade. And some of them will get quite tall, while others are quite dwarf. And then, of course, the summer flowering or fall flowering mums are really neat plants to have in the garden. These will flower for a long period of time, and they are perennials, so they'll come back year after year. But what's significant about them is the different sized blossoms and, of course, the different colors that they're available in as well. And then back here in the back, just coming into bloom, are the perennial Japanese anemones. What great plants to include in the garden, and they too come in a wide range of colors. So they'll provide color and permanence in the garden at the same time. And one of the most popular of all plants at this time of the year are both the flowering kales and the flowering cabbage. And look at the different colors that they come in, different growing habits. And these stay in the garden for a considerable length of time. In fact, it's not unusual for them to still be in color well after Christmas time. Great plants. And then, of course, the grasses. Again, permanent plants. Some of them are evergreen and some are deciduous, but they'll come back year after year. Some of the variegations in the foliages are really outstanding. Their various growing heights and habits really make them interesting plants too. These are our plants of the week. They've been grown by Skagit Gardens, and Skagit Gardens distributes these kinds of plants through local nurseries and garden centers throughout Western Canada and the western part of the United States. So ask your favorite dealer for Skagit Gardens quality grown plants. They're available at your local garden outlets.
Today I want to take you on a tour of hardscape improvements we've made to this backyard area over the past 10 months. Utilizing these easy-to-use, readily available hardscape materials, combined with some imagination, effort, and skill, we have been able to totally transform this heretofore uninteresting, uninviting, little-used backyard area into clearly defined garden spaces that we can enjoy now and for years to come. So let's start here at the side yard entrance where we began our project last fall. This nondescript entrance was completely made over in less than a day by constructing a small raised garden bed with cottage stone retaining wall units. A new set of steps and some well thought out planting was all it took to say, welcome to our home. Enter the backyard on a winding walkway of red clay pavers interspersed with smooth and aggregate patio stones leading you through the garden spaces to the deck and beyond. The walkway was constructed in less than a day and the stones were mortared for ease of maintenance and visual enhancement. Step from the walkway on river rock paving stones to a secluded patio seating area, the perfect place to sit and enjoy the peaceful surroundings. Built with a new product from the Mutual Materials Company called Pioneer Used Brick, and enhanced with an accent stone from Pacific Concrete Products Company, this improvement took only a few hours to complete and will be enjoyed for years to come. A few steps beyond the patio and a little further along the walk is the pond. Adding the element of water was an essential part of the overall landscape design. The pond, constructed of indigenous rock, mortared over a heavy rubber liner, is the primary focal point in the landscape. The sight and sound of water adds peace and tranquility to the environment. Now, onto the deck, the main outdoor living and entertainment area. From this raised platform, the rest of the garden spaces can be viewed and enjoyed. The last stop on our tour is the side yard. This was truly a dead-end spot in the landscape, a place to collect things best kept out of sight. Now it has become an herb garden and a patio walk paved with an exciting new cobblestone-looking product called Sissinghurst, after the castle of the same name in England. These patio stones are handmade and textured and are easy to install. We mortared these pavers in place to keep maintenance to a minimum and provide a clean overall look to the area. I hope our hardscape tour has sparked your imagination and demonstrated just how easy it is to construct these garden spaces. And with the exception of the deck and the pond, all the rest of the projects took less than a day to complete. And remember, hardscaping knows no season for installation.
We're in front of the beautiful Hotel MacDonald, affectionately known as the Mac, here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, along the river valley. And I'm with Lois Hull, and Lois is an author and also one of the founders of Hull's Greenhouses here in Edmonton, and they did this beautiful landscaping behind us. This is gorgeous. What was this area before?
It used to be, if you can imagine, a parking lot, car parking lot. Hard to believe.
And the hotel was renovated then recently?
Yes, the hotel was renovated. They spent millions of dollars to renovate. And, of course, really did a beautiful job. It's a gorgeous hotel.
And the landscaping here was done by you folks, and you've done a magnificent job. How many annual flowers are here?
There's well over 5,000 annual flowers and many new varieties.
And you know what I noticed, Lois, as I walked through, you've got some purple petunias, in fact, right behind us. And they're very, very fragrant. And people don't think of fragrance from petunias.
No, that's right. And you know, it's a little bit like a lot of yellow pansies have a beautiful perfume.
Yes.
Purple petunias, some of the white petunias. And isn't it lovely? And of course, you can, the scent from our snapdragons here, it's just wonderful.
Right. And the other thing that I think is really outstanding that you folks have done here is the magnificent job of labeling.
Yes, well, of course, that became very important when people walk around. They look at a flower and what is it?
Sure.
Well, a label makes it so nice.
One other thing that's really important here that you don't see really hardly anywhere else in the world, and that is there's a chef's garden here.
That's right. It's the chef's herb garden. And it was interesting. Our oldest boy decided, our oldest son, along with his younger brother, that maybe we should do some pots and herbs. And that's exactly what we did. Well, the chef he just loves it. And I presume he asked, you know, could they have herbs here? And the only way is in containers. People don't realize what you can do in container gardening. Having herbs, you put edible flowers.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
done all kinds of wonderful things.
Yeah, and in fact, a couple weeks ago is what they had here at the hotel was lemon verbena ice cream.
He just does wonderful things.
Oh,
As a
yeah.
matter of fact, I was out here one day and I was just looking at some of the roses, and my gosh, the chef walks by and literally pulled the rose apart to put on this wonderful looking vegetable dish. But I just about died ruining this beautiful rose. He says, there'll be more, they'll
Yeah,
come back, and
they'll
he's right.
bring it. Thanks, Lois. That's all the time we have today. Hope you can join me at the same time next time for Gardening in America. And remember, our relationship with the planet today is tomorrow's future. Have a great week.